Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Leash, also known as MonsterMaker online, and I do art videos. So in today's video I have 5 more top how to draw manga books. I did a video with 5 completely different books a little while ago and you guys really loved that and loved how I reviewed them and gave a detailed look. So here is the requested part 2. I have 5 brand new books that I think are a good range that I'm going to go through today. So let's get into it. I have been scouring trying to find really good ones and I've been actually pretty picky, so I finally have 5 more that I'm happy to share with you guys. So let's get started. The first one that I'm going to start with is this Learn to Draw Manga Women, and it's a beginner's guide, but I really like the artwork on the front. It's by Tuttle, which is a publisher of the few other books that I reviewed and said were actually pretty good. So I was like, okay, let's have a look at this one. Yes, this is specifically for female characters. I really like the different style that they've got here as well. Some watercolor style. It has a very soft femininity to it. And I like how they've broken it down. So for this book, it really jumps straight into it. So it has some beginning stuff around like flow, if you use 3D models, you know, different poses. I feel like it's pretty good. It's got the difference between men and women, or I would say feminine and masculine body types, proportions, and then get straight into poses. So even though this is a beginner's guide, I still think it's really helpful if you've been drawing for a while, but you're sort of struggling with capturing more feminine characteristics. And it really breaks down poses. I like seeing the sketchy parts. They actually put in the curve, the S curves, the way the shoulders and the hip tilt as well is very important for having a dynamic pose. It goes through different poses, which I think are really great. So practical applications. So now drawing the character in their pose within the environment, engaging with their environment, carrying things, throwing something, engaging with others. Now this is always really hard, especially if you're a beginner manga artist or beginner illustrator in general. I find drawing characters and interacting with each other in an interesting way can be difficult. But I love that it's got poses that are really outside the box as well. Different standing poses. They go through breaking down how they've done this illustration in particular. A sitting pose, and then develops them even more. So there's some great references here. Even though it says beginner, again, I feel like there's some things that you can pull apart and use even if you're an intermediate artist, which is one thing I really tried to focus on when I was looking and researching these books. I love this. This is so cute. Oh my gosh. And the style is very unique as well. So I'm so happy I picked up this book, and it's not too, you know, like some of the how to draw manga women are quite objectifying. So this, I feel, has a good sense of just the general pose, and it's not all about their assets. Not too much more to say about this one. Again, I like that they have a combination of step by step and then breaking down an illustration completely. Shoes, bits of fashion in this as well, poses in motion. A little bit of chibi stuff at the back here, which I think is great. It's got a bit of everything in this book actually, which is really good. And then a little bit of some color stuff in the back here, mentioned Pixiv. So yeah, I thought this was a really nice book. Again, it could be a little bit more for the intermediate to beginner, so it doesn't have all of the here's what art supplies you use, here's how to draw a circle, here's how to render and crosshatch. It doesn't have all of that, so I think this is really good for, you know, if you consider yourself a beginner artist but you have actually done a bit of drawing before and you know what a pencil and ink is. Next, I have the Manga Fashion Bible by Christopher Hart. I picked this one up. There was actually a whole lot of books by Drawing with Christopher Hart in the bookstore and on Amazon and online stores. Some of them must have been earlier works or had different artists in them, and they didn't really pass my test of what I was looking for in recommending in these videos. Again, I always look at the cover, and I think the art on the cover is really sound, it's really vibrant, and you can tell just from these images that the person writing this book or the artist in this book does understand different ways and different styles of clothing. So I thought this was really good. You might already have some of these books in your collection, and I'm going to go through this as well. So I love that there's all different kinds, majority females so far. I guess it's more fashion based. Women's clothing tends to have a larger range of different styles. I think it's so cute. It does have a little bit of a getting started, your first time drawing, what do you need, what are these? I like how they've tackled it very simply and actually done the illustrations for it, setting up your workspace, and then going straight into drawing. So it does, you know, very basic how to draw a head, side, front, 3/4, which I feel like is my favorite. Drawing eyes, it is very beautiful eyes, so it's trying to go for that aesthetic. Different hairstyles, again, this is all women. And then going into different fashions. I love this one, it's such a cute outfit. So again, very basic. This might be a good book for you if you tend to draw the same clothes, you're kind of getting a bit bored of that. You want to add more interest to your characters. This also could be good if you're actually interested in just doing illustration for fashion. You really like fashion, like putting outfits together, and you want some basic skills on how to draw people and then, you know, focus on the clothes. I like that they've done a bit of, you know, how to draw a character wearing clothes to convey a certain mood. So we've got mysterious, we've got shy, a bunch of different character tropes here. That's so cute. I love that so much. Trendy outfits. I don't feel like it dumbs anything down, which is really good. It's all very simply laid out. I love it. You can tell that they've been doing this for a while in how they've structured the book. Oh my gosh, the footwear. Now, I do not draw feet or shoes very well. I've never focused on it, but this would be so good for doing some studies to learn how to draw shoes and draw different ones. Like, these are so different, which is great. Drawing in poses. Here we go. We've got some male fashion here as well, and some more outlandish stuff, which is awesome. It just a couple of pages, I think about 4 pages there. Would have been nicer to see a bit more, but obviously this is tailored around a certain audience, a certain artist. So yeah, I feel like this is a really good book. You can see it's just, all the artwork is beautiful, it's well done. There's nothing that makes you nothing I've seen that makes you go, oh, that's a bit off. Everything looks really well. It explains how to layer things, how to draw the clothes in different poses. So if they're just going to give you a really wraparound grasp of how to draw things, it goes actually through like, oh, this is how you would draw the underwear for that person, and really building up those layers. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, even though it's not particularly my style. I still thought it was something I could learn from and also would be really good for you guys. So yeah. Moving on to the third one. Again, this is more drawing clothing. Now this is another Tuttle book. I have loved everything from them so far. Actually, I shouldn't say everything. Everything that I've bought from them has been good so far, but I'm sure they have ones that are a bit different. Drawing clothing and accessories. So the cover really drew me in, and also 900 illustrations. So this is a great reference book, not just necessarily a how to draw book. It's a good reference book to have on hand. And I love how they've broken this up in the content section. So again, as a reference book, you might come to this and go, okay, I'm going to be drawing, you know, shoes. I can go straight to page 114. You can jump to where you want to. So let's kind of go through it. It actually has a section on how to use this book. So I'm going to give a fairly brief flip through of this because I feel like it's very self-explanatory. One of the things that I can say, if we compare to the previous book I just looked at for fashion, is it has this as really good reference. So it's got just the clothes by themselves without focusing on drawing in the details of the character. It also has it very simple. So black and grey and just a single shading so that you can get the quickest and easiest idea of the shape of the clothing item, as well as how light might fall on it depending on, you know, your light source. So it gives you an idea of how to make it feel more 3D and more worn. Lots of small references, some step-by-steps on how to draw, some patterns. Oh, the frills, like it goes into more detail. All this is fairly sort of casual and basic, which is really good. And then how to adjust it so it goes from a hoodie to then, we've got that same shape, but you might want to add buttons in instead. So I like how that has this all here together. I feel like this is more of an intermediate to more advanced book because it goes straight into it. It's just got the clothing. It doesn't have how to draw the characters wearing the clothing necessarily. It's just got the clothing, how to shade it, and how to adjust things, add some details and accessories to it. So like I said, going to go through it fairly briefly because it is pretty self-explanatory, but I still want you guys to get a good look at the book and see if it is worth it for you. Got kimonos in there, some overalls, lots of casual stuff, a closer breakdown of how to do pleats. So I think that's awesome. Let's skip to the back. We've got underwear, how to add in those details there if that's what you're into. Some different shoes as well, some more very basic stuff that you can build on. Now we've got accessories, we've got handbags, shoulder bags, travel bags, school uniforms, the different kinds of school uniforms, the shoes that might go with that, the bags that would go with that as well. Yeah, I really like how they've done that and then broken it down by gender as well. Suits and formal wear. So the fashion in this book might not be as outrageous and captivating as the Manga Fashion Bible by Christopher Hart, but I feel like this is really, really good reference. This would be useful, especially if you are just starting like a manga, you want to draw and illustrate your own comic. You've got this to get the real basics down of how those clothes would go. So I do recommend and really love this one. Okay guys, the next book here, book number 4 for this video, is, surprise, surprise, another Christopher Hart book. There's so many of these books and I don't even know all of the artists in here, but the artwork captured me. It's a tips and tricks book, Master Guide to Drawing Anime. So this one, let's see what this is like. Even though it says drawing with Christopher Hart, we've got contributing artists just here. So be sure to look them up if you are interested. I like that there's different art styles in these books as well. It really jumps straight into it. There's some lovely full illustrations there. It does go in to start to draw the head. Starts straight away with the eyes, which is interesting. It has a very specific shiny manga art style. This is pretty much similar to what he's got in the other book as well, the fashion one. So front, 3/4, and I'm guessing we're gonna have a side. Yeah, so it gives you a few different kinds. I feel like, yeah, it's just very basic. It's probably not the best head drawings that I've seen. So, but at least having it there shows that this could be your first book of your manga drawing collection if you wanted. Simplified expressions chart, that's pretty cute. Different hairstyles for males and females. And then going straight into drawing some poses and then turning it into a finished illustration and the different character types. So I feel like this one is fairly basic. I still picked it up because I thought this is going to be useful for someone and it kind of covers a little bit of everything. But overall, I thought the artwork was really nice and really solid. Hands and feet, there we go. There's one way to do it. It's got how to draw the hands and some very basic poses there, front and back, and then some more actionable poses. This is very important. How would you draw a hand patting a cute doggo? Hands and feet are hard for any artist, I feel. I don't think I know any artists who will say hands and feet are the easiest, yeah, their most easiest part of a drawing. I don't think I've ever heard, even people who are really good at it, they're like, yeah, I still struggle with hands and need reference. And you know, there is no shame in that. Going into some very basic poses here. At least this book does sort of cram in a fair bit as well, but still not over cluttered. And and drawing a full scene, which is very cute. Developing a sense of style. So you know, this artist has got some interesting stuff on how they put illustration together. That's pretty cute with the background elements. Very nice, popping out from it. And covers a few different types there. So this, I like the variety that these books give, different sort of art styles. This is a different artist from a few pages earlier, and it has enough little projects that you could follow along and, you know, develop your skills with. Some more dynamic stuff there. And I like this coloring style. It's very different. Drawing people in backgrounds. So yeah, a little bit of everything in this. It's a little bit basic in some sense, but the artwork is really solid. I would say probably beginner to intermediate for this one. Maybe a little bit more beginner, but it's also hard to, you know, defining on what a beginner means to you. For a beginner book, I would like to see it go into face and poses and how to draw the body a bit more than what this is, but it's fairly basic, I feel. So, and then last but not least, here is a fifth and final book for this video. This is How to Draw Manga Furries, another one from Tuttle. Now, I had seen this a few times, picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down. Even before I did my last book. I love the cover art. I think it's so beautifully rendered. The anatomy is amazing. It's captivating. But for me, for myself, I don't necessarily draw manga furries. You know, I'm not a furry artist. So I was like, nah, I don't have you saw it. But for this video, I thought, you know what? People are gonna love this. And I think there's a lot of good stuff in this. So this might not be for you, but that is okay. I still feel like it's such a beautiful book. And it goes into a lot. So it breaks down what are furries, what types there are, mammals, reptiles, fantasy creatures. It really goes into a lot of depth. So if you are into furries, want to create your own character, it shows you how to maybe give your character a persona version of themselves. Animal versus human bone structure, the structure of the joints. So there's a lot of work and understanding to be done to make a good looking furry. The different eyes, furries matrix, that's really cool. So I haven't seen anything like this before, especially on just regular bookshelves as well. So I feel like this is such a good gateway book. I don't know if that's the right word, but I've just never seen anything like this. If you have and have any suggestions, feel free to comment down below, but I thought this was amazing. It's so nice to see this in like general publication, and it's so in depth. The different body types and physiques. If you want to draw younger to older characters, look at that. That's so cute. The different species and how you might draw their expressions. Cats. This is so in depth, and I love it. I love seeing the different expressions and oh my gosh, the way they draw hands and paws. It's amazing. The art is so good in this. It's really basic, so a good place to jump off if you're a beginner, or even if you're a commission artist and you know, you might get commissions from various different people who have different species characters and you want to tackle it in a good way. This is going to be a great reference on, you know, how to really think about the different species that can be in furry characters. So yeah, it's got sheep, it's got cow, canines, felines, we've got birdo friends here. There's so much. It's laid out so well and takes everything into consideration. Essentially, you'd look up what species you're wanting to do, and from there it breaks down the body, the faces, the expressions. And oh, that's so cool. A dragon one. This is so in depth, but also at the same time basic enough that a beginner intermediate artist could pick up. It doesn't go into advanced posing for the characters, but it's really just around how to, you know, draw those anthropomorphic furry characters. So you could use this as well as with a more advanced book around posing, or even some of the fashion books as well. You can combine them. The little babies, sea creature ones. So that is so cool. shark dude. That's coming towards the end there. So I had to include this one. As I said, I picked it up so many times and sort of put it down because I didn't have particular use for myself, but I thought this was such a good book, I could not put it in a video. It was a great excuse to finally buy it. It goes through like completing one of the finished illustrations here from the cover. References as well. I like seeing that. So they've actually included the references of how they built this book. Illustrator's profile. So we actually have a few different illustrators in here. And it's got their Pixies, Twitter and things like that there. Yeah. So that is that book, How to Draw Manga Furries. So I hope you guys liked this video. A lot of variety in this with the top 5. If you missed my first video, go check it out because there's some even greater books in there, I feel, and this is sort of adding on to that. I tried to keep things fairly different. So we've got a couple of different fashion ones, women, general sort of one, and a furries one in here. So let me know what you think of the video because the feedback really helps me to know what videos and content you guys like to see, and if you have any requests. I love collecting art books now that I can really justify it and use them quite a lot. If you had a favorite, let me know in the comment down below. I feel like it's too hard to pick a favorite because these are so different yet complementary. I think you'll get use out of any of these books. I try and include a range of different skill levels, but I'm also very picky within the books that I will, purchase and review. So let me know your thoughts, and I will just say as well that if there is interest, I will do a more beginner video series with the manga artist books aimed at beginners or young children. So I've got one here that is a child's one that I bought recently for one of my students, but I was very picky because some of the ones aimed at beginners or aimed at children they don't have solid foundation. I would much rather see a more advanced artist break things down really simple to do children's books. So very quickly, this is one that I've got here. It's just a chibis one, but if you would like to see a beginner or kids one, please let me know. I'm happy to make that in the future if there is interest for it. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned. I will have more videos around art book reviews, tutorials, and just some sketchbook tours if you're into that sort of thing. So thank you guys. I will see you in the next video, but until then, bye. Oh, as well, and if you guys are interested in purchasing any of these books, I do have some affiliate links down below if you would like to grab them. If you purchase from these links, it does help me out a little bit, but it doesn't cost you any more. But obviously, I would much rather if you have the ability to support your local bookstores, wherever you can find these, but I understand that some of these books might be hard to find in your area or your country. So yeah.